Welcome back to another video pertaining to Ubuntu 24.04, specifically Linux Mint 22 Wilma. For those of you having difficulty uh, coding with Python, relatively recent, this video is going to show you how that problem is going to be resolved. There is a GitHub page called Pyenv, or with a project known as Pyenv, Python environment. It's essentially a virtual environment to where you can essentially get any version of Python you want, a newer or prior, and essentially it's gonna fix all your pip install slash etc. problems you're having right now. Because every single time there's a newer version of a distro, Python is it's gonna fight you, or it's more like Visual Studio Code, and that's the one I use the most. I switched over to Arch Linux as recent. I got that. That's a different tangent, but there's Kate. But for y'all here, I'm gonna show y'all how to resolve your problems. So as the norm for good habits, what you're going to want to do is sudo apt update, and once you've done that, you're gonna want to sudo apt upgrade to get everything all situated. Once you have your program upgrade and all that up to date, you're going to want to type in this line. This line is going to install the dependencies for a Python environment. Our next process is we're going to want to be installing Python environment. And here's the line provided. What we're going to want to do is check our Python environment version. That is not the line. Pyenv the dash version. And so that is my version as of the date of this upload. Yours might be different, and that's just how it's going to be. But that proves that we have Py environment installed. Now this next step is going to be configuring the shell environment. And how we do that is we go inside with nano. And so we are here now. What we got to do is scroll all the way over to the very bottom of this file. And these 4 lines specifically, you are going to want to add at the end of the file. Ignore the one at the very bottom, that 5th line, eval. That is what the file is going to do on its own, or at least for me, after all this has been said and done. Oh, and I will include the link to the GitHub. And once you have that done, do Control X, save your changes, and we will return to here. Once you're out, you're going to want to reload the shell to apply those changes. So we're going to use this line, which is going to be the first of 2 times we're going to be using this line to reload the shell. So we have Py environment installed, but not any version of Python for said environment that we are going to create. So type in this line, pyenv install -- list, and click it. What we have here is a list of every single version, potentially, of Python. From Miniforce to Miniconda to Anaconda, which is what I used to use on Windows. That provides you Jupyter Notebook, Visual Studio Code, etc. And here are the relatively regular versions of Python from 2.1.3, just let's scroll all the way to the bottom, to 3.14. Now for this video, we're going to be using Python version 3.947 as example. And so pyenv install 3.9.7. Once you press enter, you have set the local Python version. We are going to be using is git to install the Py environment, the virtual environment plugin for Py environment. Now this next line is to configure the shell to load that said environment plugin. We are going to be using echo. And then once this is done, we are going to harken back to old times to reload your shell with exec shell. So now we are finally on the step to create that virtual environment for that version of Python. So pyenv virtual env said version myenv. Now to activate your Python environment, it is going to be pyenv activate myenv. At this point in the video, you should see your terminal name appear different, which means that your Python environment is now active for that version of Python. Now let's move over to Visual Studio Code to see what we can truly do with an active uh, Python environment. And this will still apply even after you leave the My environment. So here we are on Visual Studio Code, and I just created a normal file or an ipynb file. And so if we take a look at what kernel to select, you might have a couple other versions like Pyenv for Python, but essentially you have Python 3.9.7 installed onto computer in addition to Pyenv. But let's just click on the first example, Python 3.9.7, and well, let's just type something. Print. Oh God. And let us run it. Well, what do you know? Hello world. Took me a couple seconds longer than I should have done it, but if you see this, it works. Congratulations, you have officially installed not only Pyenv, you can now create your own Python environment for any version of Python you wish, in addition to having that said version of Python installed by default. And you can do that for any version of Python, and you would just go back here, click on said kernel, and you have it. So, this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. The next videos in the future are going to relate to Game Boy Operator by Epilogue. Expect that video. I'm going to really love making that video. And like I said prior, I have Arch Linux installed officially. And I've been installing a lot of my stuff through Yay rather than sudo pacman. But thank you for watching this video. Hope this really was useful, because it was for me when I discovered Pyenv. It's a really good tool. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more gaming. But these last couple of videos have been coding / Linux. And take care. Have a good day.